We are live. We are live. We're live here on Zoom, and we're live also on Facebook. Yes. Oh, beautiful. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Warriors of Light show. We are here with episode 3 and with the effervescent Lebo Pule, who is here with us today. Welcome, Lebo, to our show. Yes,
Thank you. I appreciate the invite.
Yes. We're gonna have so much fun today. If you are joining us on Zoom, say hello to us in the chat, and we'll be using the Q&A for the question and answer part of our masterclass series today, which you can use later to ask any questions that you have for Lebo with regards to everything she's going to share with us. And you can also do the same on Facebook. You can ask questions, you can say hello, you can comment throughout. We will be checking in and out, but mostly we're here in Zoom. And we are here doing understanding of the chakra system with Lebo Pule, who is our guest for today. I am so excited to be with Lebo today. We just are just like in resonance, our energies. You're like, oh, I love you. So this is going to be so much fun. And for those who are joining us for the first time, my name is 𝚘𝗣𝗦𝗢𝚆, and I am your host, and I will be facilitating this process. And today we have Lebo Pule, who I'm going to tell you a little bit about her. Very cool things. Lebo Pule is a seasoned serial entrepreneur, a teacher at Stretch with Lebo Pule, a sought-after speaker on entrepreneurship, leadership, gender, and social matters. She's an author of a series of 2 books titled Alone, Growing Up in Alexandria, and Alone, From Hustling to Healing, respectively. These books are memoirs where she shares various experiences that shaped the woman she has become. Lebo Pule continues to teach, heal, and impact people's lives through her online school Stretch, which is currently enrolling for its students for 2020.
Yes.
Exciting. We will learn more about that in a bit. She runs a year-long program where she impacts and shares her knowledge and insights on matters of healing, personal development, self-mastery, and overall growth and well-being. She further shares some pearls of wisdom every Sunday on her sought-after and growing podcast. Oh, so good. I love everything that you're doing. Welcome, Lebo.
Thank you so much, Joy, for the invite. And the first time we met, the first time we had our Zoom, I said to you, you look like my sister. And today you look even more like 𝚘𝚘𝚏. And I'm like, why God, I'm looking at you? So I must actually remember to tell 𝚘𝚘 to watch this live, to see herself in the
eyes. My ancestry is actually from South Africa. Perhaps we're from the same place and we could be related. Like I wouldn't.
Yeah, I would not be surprised.
Yeah. So my grandfathers from my mother's side, paternal and maternal, are from South Africa, and from my father's side as well, one of them is from South Africa. So probabilities of that being true are very high. Yeah.
But as you know, we are all one. Hey, we are all one giant race from one big tree. We come from the same roots. So yeah.
Yes, this is true. So just one moment, I will share on Facebook and okay, good. Yes, okay. So I am here fully present. And yeah, I thought we could begin by just like centering in certain sacred space, and then we will jump into our conversation. Okay. So wherever you are, just closing your eyes. I love what Lebo just said about how we are all one, and we're just gonna create and generate that energy. by focusing on our heart, our sacred heart, our higher heart, which is the doorway to this energy, this frequency that connects all of us, this Ubuntu consciousness. And we're just going to be there and just focus on that diamond seed that is you, the infinite spark of light that is you. And we just allow that to move throughout our bodies and to go down into the earth to connect with our mother energy even more deeply, and to basically send in love, peace, harmony to the earth, to ourselves, to our beloveds, to our community, our people as Black people, and the rest of humanity. We can take a deep breath and imagine that deep breath is us also receiving love from Mother Earth, coming back into our feet and actually moving through the chakra system if you know about it. But if you are yet to learn about it, stick around because we're going to learn a little bit more about it, allowing the energy to move through the body back to your heart center. And knowing that we are connected, and we invite into this space the guidance of love and light beings of higher realms, our guides that work with us, and the spirit of God, the holy light that works with every single one of us. That is us, essentially. And so it is, so it is, so it is. Let's take that deep breath in, and as we're taking it, we are now taking the breath from the heart and we take it up through our head all the way back to the great central sun, to the heavens, so that it's fully anchored into that realm. So let's take that deep breath in. Yeah. And opening our eyes, coming back here. Hopefully feeling a little lighter.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, Lebo. How are you feeling?
Oh, yeah. This is so fascinating that your sacred giving, the thing that you've just done now. I'm not sure if I should call it a prayer. It's fascinating how it talks directly to the topic of today. You know, yeah. It is if you don't understand what the chakra system is, this prayer that Coco Joy just did, that's it. That's chakra 101. We can actually close the session. We can go.
No,
so you made my life easy.
so
Thank you.
More.
You've made my life easy.
Yes, no, you're welcome. Yes, so let's begin. We're just retracing back to Lebo first, and then we will dive deep into the chakra system. Just getting to know you a little bit more, your journey with healing, with being a teacher, and everything else that you do.
I believe I have always been a teacher, and people who know me are probably tired of this story. When I was a little girl, the only thing that gave me so much joy was if I'm teaching. I could be teaching anything and anyone. You know, 𝚑𝚑𝚙𝚘𝚎𝚑 and just playing games. I would always play the school. And in the school, I'd be the teacher, and anyone will be my student, whether they're young or old. 𝗘𝗣𝗦𝚘𝚙𝚘𝚑 or whatever it is that I could teach. If there were no people to teach, I would take stones and and just make sure that, I am teaching. I mention this because our childhood memories, our earliest memories of the things we used to do, things that used to make time fly, things that would just wrap us up in its energy, are generally the things that will point out to who you truly are. They are gifts that we come with into this world. And those gifts remain with us from 0 to almost 9 years old. And then obviously life takes over, the system takes over, society takes over, and we forget. So one of the things that I always tell my students is go back to your earliest memory. So I've always known that I was a teacher, but like anything, I forgot that. I went about my life. Strangely enough, I could never quite connect with the education system. So I was never ever I was never ever drawn to university or and smart as I was, it was nothing that said I should go. So I didn't go to university. I rather went the entrepreneurial route, but before that, I had a stint in corporate, nothing really senior. I worked as a secretary, worked as a PR person. I did do the diploma here, diploma there, just to acquire skills. I did a marketing diploma. But the pattern of my work life in my 20s is such that I was just job hopping. I would work at the bank for 6 months, and then I would work at this IT firm for another 7 months. I could never really fit in nicely in the corporate world for whatever reason. But now that I'm in my 40s, when I look back in hindsight, I actually know why, because spirit just guides your journey. The only place where I felt like, okay, I think I'm sort of home was in entrepreneurship. Why entrepreneurship? Because there is no bastion, there is no system hierarchy that I'm in as much as I am in another system of its own, because you have to operate in this world. But entrepreneurship felt more comfortable because I have my own autonomy. I could control my time. I always say to my friends and my students, I have a very bully inner self, my true self, or my spirit, or so my first stint of entrepreneurship, I was supplying office furniture. I was a young girl. I was 24 when I went into business. 24? Hey, I don't remember. 24, 25. Okay, it was 2002, let's put it that way, when I got into entrepreneurship. And when I was supplying office furniture, made a lot of money in both paper and real time, but I made also a lot of mistakes, bent my fingers quite a bit, such that by the time I turned 30, I went plummeting down. I went under, I lost everything that I had ever had. I had lost my house, my cars. I literally was declared sequestrated, bankrupt, moved back home. And I'm giving this backstory so that you can see how it led to me teaching. Because I think sometimes disasters such as going bankrupt or someone's death or something major like that happening is spirit's way of, turning you back to what you need to do. In particular, for people like us who are teachers, we are under a lot of pressure from spirit to do the work. So it's spirit will even though you wonder what the hell is going on. It's hand. So to cut a long story short, Joy, I went bankrupt when I was 30. That was 2007. I moved back home, and that's when this Lebo Pule that you guys are experiencing began to grow. I wasn't here yet, but and for me, that's key because I had to go back home, the symbolism of being home. With the roots of your home and get the blessings of your parents in one way or the other. And then you can move on to the next thing. But because life is the way it is, I tried to go back to corporate again in 2008, and I lasted about 2-3 years. 2010, I took another chance to entrepreneurship, and then it went under again. But this time it wasn't this explosive thing of being bankrupt. This time it was just a stillborn. The business I had in mind, which people can read about in my second book, was a stillborn. It just never got off the ground. It was just not working. And it took me literally 3 years to just finally say, okay, this thing is not working. Now, here's the interesting thing. Parallel to this business not working, Joy, I'm busy teaching. I'm on social media, I'm on Facebook, I am sharing things that over the years I've been reading, over the years I've been downloading, over the years I've been hearing. So I've always been a student of life, because if you're a teacher, you are automatically a student of life. So ke busy ka business e sa bereking, but every day, without fail, I'm on that wall on my Facebook, and I am just pouring myself out. And as life would have it, I think by 2014 or 2015, people started calling me Teacher Lebo or Aus Lebo. 2017, I decided, let me start a group where I can actually teach deeper things. Because the things that I shared on Facebook, in as much as people were like, wow, it's actually nothing compared to what the program at Stretch, which we'll get into, covers. I mean, what we share, the evergreens, it's like your basic of the basic. So in 2017, I decided to start Stretch with Lebo Pule. I chose the name Stretch because I know some people would ask, because it is probably the best adjective or the best verb to use for the kind of work that I do. So basically the work that I do will stretch your heart, first of all, such that it is fuller and it's more compassionate and it has a lot of love and tolerance. It will stretch your mind such that also, you are open to what is, to the universe, to everything that we were brought into this world for. It will stretch your perspective, it will stretch your own creativity, and it will eventually help you find your truth of why is it that you are here. So the word is just absolutely beautiful. So it was Stretch with Lebo Pule first. Now that it's becoming an institution, it is called Stretch School. So that is the backstory of why is it that I teach. I've always taught from when I was 7.
Wow. I love that. I love that. There's definitely a reflection of who you might become at that age, between your first decade. You can always see when you go back, you're like, I've always cooked, or I've always, taught. So I really love this story because it's affirming what I also teach as well, which is that your gift is always there. It's all along, it's always there.
So I know that we use the symbolism of when babies come to earth, but put the gift, it's a half, and I one, did not.
Yes, I love that. It is always different gifts that you have. And then somehow there's ways that, as you were sharing, you will be redirected through all these gifts. And there's sometimes a point where they all come together and they settle, and you can step into, we might call it your highest mission, your highest purpose, which is like what you are currently doing now, which is teaching deeper truth to your students. And one of the things you said, you're like, I really want to teach the mighty chakra system. And I just love how you're like, mighty.
It's a mighty system.
Yeah. Because it's a little confusing for when you don't understand what it is. It's also a different system that has its origin not necessarily from where we are, or that's what we might think. There might be a different story to that. And it's not what we're taught in school. So that's why it's kind of like mighty. And today we are here to kind of like try to understand it, because there are many things we can talk about, but this one is also very important for all those who are in a healing path, all those who are trying to understand themselves, deepen that relationship with themselves. And yes, essentially heal what needs to be healed. So according to you, Lebo, what is the chakra system? How can we understand the chakra system?
I'm trying to suppress the burps. Every time I teach, suddenly the burps. Okay.
We have someone here.
The chakra system is an ancient system. I even want to dare and say that it began at the beginning of time itself. Currently, because of am I echoing back? Something is happening.
No. Sorry, it was my phone. Yes.
Okay, cool. In terms of recorded history, the chakra system is traced back to the Asians, the Indian culture, thousands and thousands of years back. But I always say to people that something is universal and something is universally true and so ancient cannot belong to one nation. It is a universal system that every nation actually is part of. Why? Because we are all part of this human race. We are all here. So the chakra system is no different to the number system. Numbers are universal. You can't say numbers originate. Numbers were not even created. We found them here. So the chakra system is part and parcel of who we are for as long as we are human beings here on earth, right? The thing that you want to understand, the fundamentals that you want to understand if you want to understand the chakra system is that at our core, at our deepest core, we are spirit. We use this word loosely, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. That is very, very deep, and that is very, very true. We are first and foremost spirit or energy. You know, scientists will tell you that even this physical body of ours is not actually real. It's made up of atoms. If I were to cut you up right now, Joy, and put you into all pieces and string you along, I will not find Joy. I'll just find pieces of you, because joy is essentially energy. So if you understand that you are spirit first and foremost, you then immediately understand that you are connected to the larger spirit, to the larger energy, to the larger universe that created you. In biblical and Christian terms, they say we were created in the image and likeness of the Creator. That image and likeness is our spiritual connection. So the chakra system is a system that connects us to our original core, our original creator, our original source. It comes in the form of an energy body. Now, what's an energy body? Before you were born, before you came into this world, you existed elsewhere. The Zen masters speak of a saying that says, show me your face before your mother was born. What they're essentially saying is that you existed long before you came into this world. So when you come into planet Earth, into this realm, the first thing you need to have, you can't enter this place without a body. So you get given a body, right? But before you get the physical body, you already have an energy body. And that energy body contains the chakra system. Are we together, Joy? I feel like burping. And I want to look at my notes, because if I don't look at my notes, okay. So your first nature is spirit, and the first thing you get is an energy body, then you get a physical body. Why do you get a physical body? Because you need it for this three-dimension world. You can't come into planet Earth without the body. And that's why when you leave planet Earth, what do? You drop the body. But this body is governed by a deeper energy. Some people, if we have Christians listening, in biblical or Christian terms, you could also think of the energy of the chakra system as when God breathed or put his breath into the nostrils of Adam, helping him breathe. So basically just activating that chakra system, which is why anyone who teaches on chakra will always talk about breath, because breath is what connects us to the deeper universe. If you don't breathe in and out, and you can't live here, right? So that's essentially what you need to fundamentally understand. We are spirit and we have a spirit body. Now, in the body, and I know some people, and I know you teach on 12 chakra systems. There are other people who know about 33 chakra system. I specifically teach on the 7 chakra system, which begins with the root chakra, the sacral, the solar plexus, the heart, the throat, the third eye, and the crown. But for today, because I'm going to focus on the lower 3, the root, the sacral, maybe the solar plexus if time allows, because we might not get there. I'm just looking at my notes, Joyce, so forgive me. So why is it called a system? It's called a system because it connects you to your source. It connects you to the higher universe, the greater universe. Now, the first chakra, unless you have a question now before I get into the first chakra. Wish up.
No, I am good. I absolutely love it. The way you're explaining it and really breaking it. It's like so perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
Let's continue.
Okay, let's connect. I'm just trying to see here. Okay, so how does the chakra system then operate in your body? So it is, while it's in and around your body, it is not physical. Like it's energy. We can't touch it, we can't feel it, but it has centers in the body where it is highly concentrated. So there is the centers in our body, in this line here, where we have concentrated energy or concentrated spirit that governs our everyday living. And I'm going to get into that. So let's start with the first lower chakra. It is known as the root chakra. It is situated in your physical body on the tailbone. We used to have tails back in the days, back thousands and thousands of years as we were evolving. We used to have tails. So if you think of yourself having a tail, you can just imagine that tailbone having lots and lots of energy that is concentrated. Now, what does that energy in the tailbone do? It connects us to Mother Earth. When you enter this world, your first mother is not the mother who gave birth to you. That's your second mother. Your mother gave birth. Your first mother is Mother Earth. And I loved your prayer earlier because you spoke of the mother. So it connects you to the earth. The energy of the root chakra also governs the bone system, our entire skeletal system, our teeth, our blood, our legs, in particular feet, which is why when you are standing on your feet, you are touching, having contact with Mother Nature. I always tell people to just take off those shoes, please, especially so that you are always in contact with Mother Nature. So how does it then govern your life? Like, okay, fine, it is an energy, there's a tailbone and it governs the bones. How does it do that? At an emotional level, the root chakra talks to our sense of belonging, our sense of security, our sense of being in a tribe, our sense of being loved or belonging into a family or a nation or a society. Hence, identity politics are so important to us. You touch our hair, whether Rautwana or Arutwane, we are all going to go there. That's a root chakra response. When Clicks says our hair is bad and whatever, and everybody's up in arms, we are responding from a root chakra stimulus, okay? So whenever you find yourself feeling a little insecure, a little like you don't belong anywhere, like when our 𝚊𝚘𝚘, you are said to be having root chakra problems, okay? Sometimes the root chakra problems appear whenever you enter something new, so sometimes they're not always permanent. Sometimes it's because maybe you're moving into a new city or a new country or a new town, and you're feeling a little uprooted. You know, a lot of young people in varsity, leaving home, going to res, they're getting uprooted. So their root chakra is a bit shaken. So they attach themselves to all sorts of people. They make a lot of mistakes when you don't have a strong sense of who you are. Sometimes the root chakra is affected by nyani childhood issues where you really never felt like you were loved or taken care of, or you were neglected or abandoned or whatever. So those are deeper issues that if you're in my class or your class, Joy, you know, we then get deeper into those things. So this is just at the basic level. What people need to know about the root chakra is physically, it governs your bones, your legs, your knees, your ankles. Sometimes you have a knee problem. It's not a knee problem. It's about your security, your sense of safety, your sense of belonging. You know, you want to check into that. And sometimes you never feel like you belong anyway. It's a root chakra problem. So I want to stop here and see if you have a question before we move into the next one.
Oh no, I really love everything that you're sharing. I love the root chakra, and it's particularly important to us as Africans because we really, most of us operate from this chakra because it's about our survival instinct, our basic needs being met. And we find that as a community, we currently still struggle with this surviving on being on like almost in a primitive way. This is why it's like, as you're sharing, connected to the tailbone, like our ancient
yes, it's a reptilian.
Yes, the
reptilian brain, yeah.
Yes, and in my work, because I work with a lot of like gifted people ancestrally, it's also where we are connected to our ancestors. It's our roots to our ancestors, our lineages, our bloodline, and it's where you might find that the issues that your people, like your people being your family, have, they will be also in the center. You will experience them as well. So especially the survival, how your people survived and where they struggled, you might be experiencing the same thing because the chakra is connected to our ancestors. So I really love this because it's we speak about enlightenment, we speak about personal development and healing and hierarchy of Maslow.
Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about the Maslow hierarchy of needs.
Yes, and how our problem in Africa is a little different from, like, it's very difficult for us to fulfill that hierarchy of needs because we're still at the root level, because we're still trying to get our food, our shelter, and we're on survival mode. And it's why things like living your purpose, following your gift can be so difficult when you are here and you have, they will say, a blocked root chakra. Or how do you define it?
Yeah, no, and I'm glad you went into the larger society and larger issues, because if you think about us here in South Africa, actually in Africa, really, because we were all colonized, but in South Africa, we had an added thing, apartheid. So our root chakra is so shaken as Black people in this country. We have not even begun to identify who we are. We identify ourselves against other nations. So we don't even have our land. I mean, the dispossession of land just cuts you off. I mean, imagine, it just cuts you off from the root. So if you could imagine root, so we have a lot of work to do to go back to the roots and go back to who we are. And I know probably someone will ask that, yeah, so how do we do it? Because we still don't have our land and all that. You can actually do it at a personal level. There are certain rituals that you do where you want to root, which is why you have to come to either you or me or anyone who does this type of work, where you need to root deeply and heal and connect to your generations, 7 generations before you, 7 generations after you, and because the more you heal yourself, the more it ripple effect, you heal other generations before and after you, and slowly but surely you affect the people around you. The stronger your root, the easier for you to heal yourself and others. And that one by one, slowly we get to possess and understand also, Joy, that it's not even only about your tribal belonging. It is understanding that you were born and you are here on earth and you belong here. The fact that every morning you wake up and you have not dropped this body to move on to the next level, it means you belong here. It means your real mother still has your back, which is the earth. So sometimes, I mean, some of the questions I get from my student is, yeah, but my parents died. I don't know who my father is. I used to be living from this aunt to that aunt and whatever. So I don't know, how do I reconnect? What you want to do is you want to connect to your real mother, which is Mother Earth. You want to find your own routine, because you can. You are a child of the universe. You can do that, but it takes a couple of rituals, a little bit of inner work, and you don't just press a button, but it can happen. So I just wanted to clear those in case our listeners and viewers have those questions for now.
Yeah.
So I guess we
this is what.
No, it's fine. I need to move on.
I was just saying, this is why for us in Africa, we can't try to rush the healing process. We can't also just like, we find that we struggle with transforming our lives because sometimes it's not contextualized to our experiences here. And the root chakra explains why sometimes some things do not work for us in Africa, because our root issues, like we were saying, like, they go beyond yourself. They didn't start with you. They are systematic for us. They're political, they're economic, socio-economic, very deeply psychological and mental and so on. And this is why you find that even when you're doing this work, and you will later share about how in your school, it's a long process, a couple of months learning about this, because there's so much to unearth. But the beauty, like you were saying, is that it's not just about you doing this individually and trying to fix it by yourself, because they're not really just your issues, they're interconnected, and you can get support. And as we were talking, I just love how we started by saying we are spiritual beings, we are energetic beings, and there is also support, spiritual and energetic.
Yes, through the crown chakra. You know, I mean, the chakra system, if you can just imagine yourself being nailed down by a beautiful white light that goes down into the earth and connects you to the sun or the heavens, you are held. It doesn't matter how you look at it, you are held from Mother Earth, and you are held from Father Sun, if we could call the sun the father, because it is a masculine energy. So we can do these things. We can heal ourselves. We can restore. I always say, I think I said this to you the first time we met, that we are all brought onto this world for the healing and restoration of humanity. As a Black woman in Botswana, and as a Black woman in South Africa, I was brought here for the healing and restoration of Black people in South Africa and probably the world at large. We just get given our own assignment, which is why I cannot emphasize more why people should take the time and the money and join programs such as yours, such as mine, such as Vangile's, such as other teachers amongst us. Because honestly, you don't understand how much you are changing. You are changing everybody when you change yourself through proper healing. Okay, so that is all about the root chakra. Well, it's not even all about it. We've just scratched the surface, really, because then there's homework that I want people to do. There's journaling that I make them do. There's exercises I make them do, just to grasp this energy fully. But it is an energy. I mean, another way to reconnect is obviously going into nature. There's a diet that you certainly need to eat to strengthen your root chakra. There's certain music you want to listen to and not listen to. There's drumming that you have, certain dance moves. There is a lot that we can do to strengthen our root chakra. So, and it will change everything in your life. Okay, so root chakra, let me get, and wait, these things, they're just my nervous tick. There's nothing here. I'm listening through the audio, your computer, but they calm me down. I'm nervous. So when I'm nervous, I just do this.
You're doing
so
so
okay. The second chakra is known as the sacral chakra. And it's, if you look at the chakra system, it's very, very close to the root chakra, which talks to how interconnected they are. Sometimes root chakra, you might think you have a root chakra problem, sacral chakra. Like for an example, survival is root chakra and sacral chakra because of, and I'll explain how they interconnect. But the sacral chakra in the body, it is located around the sexual organs, just below your navel, around the sexual organs, and it governs everything sexual, everything reproductive. So in males, it's the penis, the scrotum, the prostate, the anus. In the females, it's our ovaries, our wombs, our vagina, everything around the sexual organs. Why the sexual organs? Because the sacral chakra is about creativity, productivity, being productive, creating things, making money, and expansion. It is also about relationships, hint, hint, sexual organs, relationships, and partnering, some form of partnerships happening. So what happens is that, let's just assume that your root chakra is somewhat stable. You know who you are. You know that you are a child of the universe. You know that Mother Earth, you know, has your back. You know your lineage. You know who you are, right? You know that we can take you now, right? Go Texas in America. You will not feel shaken because you know who you are. That's another sign of understanding your root chakra. If you don't feel wobbly in new places. So let's say your root chakra is healthy. The next thing that will dominate your life is sacral chakra issues. So relationship. So if you find yourself always just worried about relationships, money, your career, your creativity, your productivity, not so much your calling, because your calling is around the solar plexus, but in interaction, your relationship with your boss, your relationship with your friends, all things that have to do with partnering are all sacral chakra issues. Okay, so if you find yourself extremely unproductive, like you are in this dead-end job, you are uninspired, all you do is to collect that salary and pay your bills. Your sacral chakra needs so much work. It is flat out, because I get it's an energy center. So the energy is not activated. It barely operates. But if you find that you are this flamboyant, creative, or start something, or you are just job hopping like Lebo Pule back in the days, your sacral chakra is probably overactive, but in a direction. So with the sacral chakra that is healthy, we see people who are not only creative, but they're also very productive. They know how to govern their energy of producing things. They generally will have very healthy relationships with others, even if banality problems, because the chakra system is not about creating perfect people. It's about understanding, when you are dealing with a particular thing in your relationship, something is off in your sacral chakra energy. Go there and see what you can do a bit of ritualing, do a bit of checking in, do a bit of journaling, do a bit of inner work, and then balance that so that you can then come back to your equilibrium. So the sacral, the chakra system is not this one thing that is either too perfect or out of balance. So it's always about, why am I feeling jealous of joy? Then you know your solar plexus is a bit threatened, because the solar plexus is about, individuation, your unique work. And I know I'm going ahead of myself, but yeah, the sacral chakra is where our creative juices, our productive juices, and our money-making ability comes from. And that is also where the prostitute archetype comes from. So if people are shocked by the word prostitute, it's not as bad as it sounds. And why prostitute archetype? What does prostitution entail? It is you giving value for sometimes very little in order for what? In order to survive. So if you're getting money to pay your bills and to just survive, you are in a prostitution archetype. And I'm just very conscious of how people are probably going, ooh, ah. When you are giving too much of who you are for little, you are in a prostitution business. And a lot of us are in it because we give a lot of our time to bastion, to things that really, truly don't matter. For what? So that we can pay that bond and that car and that bill, and nothing wrong with that, but that's just what it is. You are just, you know, in a prostitution business. How do you get out of prostitution? Find what you are here to do. Find what your creator created you for. You don't have to drop your job, no, and then find it. You can do it simultaneously. But your work here is to find what is it that I was created for, because surely it can't be to work for Eskom and to pay my bills. Surely that would be a bad deal. It can't be. So I'm going to pause a little bit and just hear your reflections on that.
I love the sacral because I work with a lot of women with a lot of feminine energy. And like you're saying, if we were to really talk about what we have done to the earth and to women, this is the chakra that was basically essentially like attacked or just messed around with, because it's like holding because women are the creators of humanities. We literally give birth to children. It's how we give birth. It's the center, right? And for many women, this is where we also get disempowered, right? When we think about, like, I tend to go very universal with how I speak about things, but when we think about the situations that are currently even happening right now in 2020, a lot of like the violations of women, what is being violated is the center, because it's holding our sexual creativity, our energy, and our life force. It's in like this womb area, especially for women. It's what's often, if you really wanted to disempower someone, this is where you would disempower them.
Yep.
And then you get them to like function from their root where they're just surviving every single day. And this is why we have a lot of depression, we have a lot of anxiety, because our sacral has been shut down. Like we're not able to create. First of all, the system it's made in ways that we can't even really tap into our creativity. And because I'm crazy about African people, just thinking about how creative we are as a people, yet we're not able to fully, make livings from our creativity. It's really disheartening, So there is a lot of work to be done in the sacral chakra. If you are having, because what we do is we store our pain, our grief in the center, our disappointments, especially women, and then we, instead of like leaning more into our ability to create, we then try to go very masculine and fight in the world. And then you then get bent out, because then you're there operating with the prostitute archetype, as we just shared. So it's also beautiful. Yeah, we could speak forever. I love it. But we did say this is an intro.
No, this is an intro. You went into class. I mean, you just go deeper into class. And I'm deliberately not going to go deep into sex because I do the chakra system over 2 months, you can imagine. And there's 3 modules where we just speak about sex and sexuality. And I always say that when you find yourself extremely horny, let's say your vice is sex. You know, there are people who their vice babang it's food, and others it's sex and all that. And so those whose vice is sex generally have a lot of sacral chakra issue. And I always say to them as part of homework that the next time you find yourself horny, just take your journal and paper and ask, what am I horny for? Because it is your sacral chakra energy saying we need to be creating. We need to be creating, but because of all the issues and the distortion, it comes across as, I want to have an orgasm, I want to just come. And Joy, you know how much energy we waste. by just having sex willy-nilly with, you know, whoever that's willing. And I just hope that, you know, my other sisters won't think that I'm trying to control women's sexuality like the system. But we need to understand the power of this energy, and why is it that it is the very one that is controlled by religion and that is violated by the system. You know, you go to any war-stricken country, you know, thank God we don't have as many wars now, except for obviously body Sudan and all that. The first thing that they go for is to rape women. It's almost like the system knows that go there and mess that system up, because if you enter through a woman, Shamugeni, 𝚑𝚘𝚏𝚘 𝚘𝚍, I don't know if you know 𝚑𝚘𝚏𝚘 𝚘𝚍, she's one of my teachers. 𝚑𝚘𝚘 𝚘𝚍 says the system will always penetrate to you through the woman. And I love the word penetrate, because we get penetrated. So the whole sexual energy and how much power we give to men through our sexual energy is a whole module on its own that I cover in the class. And so I just didn't want to leave it without saying much there, and also just to entice people to join the school. Yeah, so that's more or less what the sacral chakra is about. It is deeper. In terms of archetypes, the sacral chakra will bring out the victim archetype, because I get it's a partnering thing, it's a power relations. So you find people who are victims who actually love to be in victim mode. You get bullies who like that. So it's power dynamics. How much power do I have over people? So it's not even really power. It's not power of the solar plexus. It's power of the sacral chakra. Ya gore, hey, ke mang, ke phala mang mo, or mang mamela mang. You know, this thing, ya go batla di followers, generally, it's very sacral chakra energy going on there. So yeah, there's a lot there. So I think I will close the sacral chakra intro there, and then maybe briefly touch on the solar plexus. And the first thing that you want to notice about the solar plexus is that if the root and the sacral are sort of closer together, the solar plexus gap between the sacral and the solar is slightly bigger. And there's a reason why. It's because it's about individuating. When you activate the solar plexus, you activate your whole individual self. This is why Maslow's hierarchy of need, the third thing is about self-actualization or career, or just understanding who you are uniquely. So the solar plexus does that. It's a bright yellow energy. It's about you and you finally finding yourself on your own and owning that space. And it's about confidence and self-esteem. People with high self-esteem, with high confidence, have their solar plexus highly activated. You know, the celebrity spaces, the political spaces, are high on solar plexus. You know, business leaders, people who are about me and my unique gifts and my unique energies, and I can stand on my own. Very, very highly activated solar plexus, but that does not also necessarily mean that it's very healthy. In fact, I think if you look at Instagram or social media, you see highly overreactive solar plexus problems happening there, because they also, a highly active solar plexus cuts you off your root as well. Your weights are unstable, such that you are governed by your ego. You are susceptible to being validated, to being liked, to being seen as the person. Hence, people don't leave social media. Like, how katsama for a week, because your solar plexus is just highly driven by ego. But the beauty side of the solar plexus is that it helps you really figure out what your true gifts are, powered obviously by the creativity of the soul of the sacral chakra. You find your true gifts, you find your true talents, you know how to give off of yourself. I will look at something and I can tell that this signature ya joy, because it is your imprint to the world. It's, you begin to give us your gift into the world. But obviously, like anything, you can overdo it such that we can't, or you can stay in the compressed and small not activated solar plexus, where you have low self-esteem, low confidence, low self-worth, and you're just a spectator in the world. And there's a lot of us who are spectating. Yeah, so that's in a nutshell, that's what a solar plexus is. In terms of physically where it is just around the navel area, and it governs your stomach. And it makes sense that it governs the stomach and the intestine, because that's where our third brain, our second brain is, the gut. You know, it's where, you know, that's where your intuition is, and you have a gut feel about things, and you are true to yourself, and you can be true to yourself and be true to others. Physically, it also governs the back. And if you think of the back, you know, we talk about people with no backbone, only wafela. So the back represents the fact that you can stand straight and represent yourself and have a strong backbone. Emotionally, like I said, it governs your self-esteem, confidence, individuation, you know, getting out of the tribe, getting out of too much root chakra, because you can have way too intense root chakra, you know, and these are the things we cover in the class. What else did I write here? Yeah, I think that's more or less it. The issues of the solar plexus is the ego, where you can just be like narcissist, where, you know, everything is about you. Everything is about how amazing you are, your latest thing, which we see on social media, in particular Instagram. High ego, narcissism, social, what's that word? Yeah, but sociopaths have an overreactive solar plexus. Yeah. After the solar plexus is the heart, and then the throat, and it just gets deeper and deeper. And like I say, I mean, which archetypes are governed by the solar plexus? It's the saboteur archetype can interfere, the saboteur, because, you know, you doubt yourself, but you know you can do that. So yeah, they're all interlinked.
Yes, they are. I'm just opening now. We are like late, but we are still going to open space for any questions you might have that Sister Lebo can answer. So opening that for everyone who's here joining us. And just want to reiterate what you're saying about the solar plexus. So in my work, I work with a lot of like spiritually gifted, amazing, beautiful women. And so people who are into wanting to change the world, help the world. And this is a big problem for most of them, because one, most of the time, I mean, they would target the sacral chakra for women and also gifted people. Like if you're here to bring art to the world, to bring healing to the world, you might find you have issues in the sacral. And then the saboteur at the solar plexus will work, because like you're saying, it's about the ego here, and the mind will really be very active in this point. And
yeah,
this
no, it is. It's
me.
It's about me. So the mind, and the mind likes that, because the mind is connected to the ego. So the moment you go me, the mind is like, yes, go batla more, and you wanna come to the heart. Yeah. Anyway, continue.
Yes. And how it could be me, but I find that for like light workers, what I call warriors of light in this show, it can be not me. I am not worthy of doing this work. I am not gifted enough. I'm not ready enough. So a lot of self-worth comes up in the solar plexus.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Yes. And just wanting to invite people to realize that's what's happening there. When you start to feel like I'm not ready to begin my business, I'm not qualified yet, and you find that so many women are actually overqualified. But
they're overqualified. My students are always overqualified. Right? That's their qualifications of other things. They're just like, wow, you don't understand. You are so ready. Yeah.
And the operating mindset for most of us Africans, women, gifted people, would be not me, I'm not ready. And also that invisibility. And so, like you're saying, the saboteur will literally come and say, you are not ready for change, because that's what the saboteur is the guardian of change. It wants to make you feel safe, because the ego is like, oh my God, what if they attack me, right? So I have to stay here, I have to stay small, I have to be invisible. And we just talked about it the other day about how leadership is actually quite painful. It's not so easy to step up, because you always have to work with your saboteur and tell your saboteur, please calm down. We are not dying here, you know? The solar plexus. And so for me, I have definitely seen myself battling with my solar plexus. And
oh yeah, me too.
Relax, you got this, you're qualified to have a conversation with us. What are you freaking out about? You know the chakra system, right? So I really love this solar plexus, because it's how we operate out in the world, and it's very visible. And his Instagram is literally the solar plexus.
I keep a solar plexus. Yes. Facebook is the sacral chakra world. In fact, even just having friends, you know, because friends is part of partnerships, and so Facebook is about friends, sacral chakra, and then Instagram is about followers. That's solar plexus. Follow me, I'm the leader. It's all about me. And then Twitter is just a nightmare. It's the shadow.
It's the root chakra. Twitter is
the root chakra. Yes. It's the rudimentary. It is so prime. It's very prime.
It really is. It's our most primordial selves come out in Twitter. You know, people just say whatever they feel. It's the house of the subconscious mind, because the root is about the subconscious mind. We just say whatever we want. The
and we are perpetually triggered. I've never seen anything like Black Twitter. But triggered. You can say the most innocent thing, triggers you. Root chakra. You're right. It's actually a root chakra. Primal. And that time they think they're like the top. Twitter. Yeah.
Yes. So there's so many comments on Facebook, but I'm not yet seeing a question and on here, because I do think that people have to process everything.
They have to. Yeah. Anyone who would have a question is someone who obviously understands the system. But no, I think people just process and join the school, I don't know how your school works, but mine, I open in September for a free induction, September, October, and November, where I share not the program itself, but glimpses of my work, you know, and the whole process is to try and get people to register and join the school. It's no longer a one-year program. It is a 7 months program now, but it is a proper curriculum. So anyone who wants to join Stretch School, you have to make time for it. Not a lot of time. I mean, I'm not gonna keep you in class all day, but 1 to 2 hours a day, just to check in what's happening, check your workbook, check your videos, watch my videos, comment, come in class. But yeah, we go from January to August, and the curriculum is in January. We start with universal laws, because you want to understand where you are at first. You can't start a program, guys. So I introduce people to universal laws so that they understand that there are things that are governing our everyday life. And the universal law, it's not only the law of attraction, there's many universal laws. And I cover about 8 of them in January. February, we do archetypes, in particular focusing on the 4 survival archetypes, the child, the victim, the saboteur, and the prostitute, just to see where do you act like a prostitute, where does the saboteur affect you, where are you a victim, and how do you change that? And then March, the very scary subject of shadow work, of shadows. And then April and May is just strictly dedicated to the chakra system. In June, what do I do this year? In June, I do spirituality. Essentially there, I just share my understanding of what a spiritual journey is, and I share a lot of my own journey there. So it's like it's not a lesson per se, it's more a sharing space, trying to expand people, open up their minds. For an example, questions like, were you born in a Christian home, or were you secular, or those kind of things? What do you know about Buddhism? What do you know about Islam, Hindu, Jew, the religions, the dominant religions of the world? And I try to get them to understand that at the core of all of them, they have one message, these different religions. And then in July, I take the whole July off because I can't work in the cold. My system doesn't agree. I shut down, I basically hibernate. And then August till September, we do femininity and masculinity, not monna le mosadi, the energies. What is a feminine energy? What is a masculine energy? And that's also just, maybe our next session should be about that. Because people think it's about putting lipstick. And wearing those high heels, and those high heels, there's nothing more unfeminine. People must wear their high heels.
Oh my God. Yes, I do feminine work primarily. So I absolutely love that.
Yes, I get
helping us reconnect, heal the feminine energy that has been distorted, has been harmed through primarily attacking the sacral chakra, as we've been talking, as well as of course the roots, as well as the solar plexus. So yeah, I love that topic. But already people are like, but we feel like we want to know all 7 of the chakras. I'm like, oh, we don't have the time, but it'll be so great to one day also do all the 7, which is like a 2-hour instead of a 1-hour masterclass. But
the heart, my favorite chakra is the heart, hence my logo is also a heart, if you think about it. The heart chakra is the bridge. Once you open up and keep the center healthy, you are not likely going to be drawn down to the root and sacral chakra often. Yes, they will draw you down because you are still human. For as long as you are human, you will have issues. But once you tap into the heart chakra, your entire game changes. The way you approach life, the way you do things, things just open up. And there are examples of people who are operating from the heart chakra. Just to use the one that everybody can relate to is Mama Oprah. Mama Oprah, heart chakra through and through. And once your heart chakra is open, you have opened the gates of heaven. So a lot of us don't even get there because we are stuck in our issues. Survive, on top of this one, China. You forget you are not looking for your work in the world. And once you find your work in the world, you are also likely to tap into the heart chakra. It opens up. You literally live in a different realm. I'm telling you now, Mama Oprah lives in a different dimension than us. She's here with us, but her operating space, it's elsewhere. It's really elsewhere. And then your throat, you can't find your true voice. So the throat chakra talks to your deeper, truer voice, not 𝚑𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘 And then the third eye talks to seeing beyond what's happening. The third eye also talks about seeing the illusion of polarity. You know, we live under the law of polarity. They are right, they are wrong, it's good, it's bad. Once this is open, you see that all that is actually good. So anyway, let me not scare people. I see there's a question here. Can I read it? Yeah,
Yes. Yes, there are actually two questions. So the first one, let me start with this one because it's related to what you just briefly touching on. The throat chakra. I don't know who this is because I can't see the name, but they wanted to ask about the throat chakra and the trickster energy. If you have any reflections on that.
The trickster energy.
Yes, the throat chakra and the trickster energy.
why am I hearing about the trickster energy for the first time? Because when I hear the word trickster, I'm thinking of the trickster archetype that is linked to the saboteur. Yeah, that is linked to the saboteur archetype. But the throat chakra is about finding your truth and your true voice in the world so that you can express your truth. Remember also, the universe was created by the word. So the word speaks to creating things, but you can only create things from the deepest truth of who you are. And for you to create from the deepest truth of who you are, you have to outgrow and overcome the heaviness of the 3 lower chakras. You have to go through the center and transcend into the, that's why, in fact, the moment we get into the throat, third eye and crown, we are talking about a completely different world than the world of the lower chakras. So, and I'm feeling like I'm not doing justice to her question, because it's almost like it's a question that can't be answered here and this way. I have to take you through the introduction of the throat chakra, which we honestly cannot do it here. Maybe just come into the induction group and I can maybe give a bonus post on the throat chakra, because I'm giving a lot of bonus posts in the group. Someone else asked about African spirituality. Of course, my darling, of course. In fact, we spend a lot of time with the African spirituality. I also invite people who are in African spirituality, such as Joy and other people, because the thing about African spirituality is it's old, but because we don't have it documented, we don't know a lot about it. I know very little. So in the class, I invite a lot of guests who are expert in these things. In fact, one of the spiritual teachers that I respect is helping me name the chakra system in our African names. For an example, we know that the chakra system in Zulu is called Umbilini. And obviously the root, we can just give it our African names and find words for all of them, because they are our things as well, that they don't belong to the Indians and they're not evil. When the system makes you believe that something is evil, you have to go and check, because they're trying to, they're trying to make you look at Jesus, and nothing wrong with Jesus. I quote Jesus a lot, but you want to be careful when the system is saying this is bad, also 𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘
wanted to say how I find that there is a relationship between the sacral chakra and the throat chakra, and how they use the sacral to shut down our throat also. It is through this violation that happens to the sacral that we become scared of truth and exploring and voicing out our truth as well. So all the lower chakras that we were sharing are, yes, they are the personality metrics, is how we exist in the world. But the higher upper chakras is now when we enter the realm of the spirit of the soul, which is more of a true reflection of who we really are from the heart going up. This is when now you tap to your spiritual self. But so many of us, we're still in the personality, and we believe the identities of personality and what's happening.
We are in the gravity. We are in the gravity. We are like vibrating very low in the gravity of the 3 lower chakras. Hence, I'm saying to activate your throat chakra, you absolutely have to transcend. And again, transcending doesn't mean that perfect, but it means that you are aware when you are being pulled down into the Black Twitter mentality or they keep you there. Anything that keeps you in a pattern is a failing, an unending, unhealthy pattern. Just know that it has to do with those 3 lower chakras. But I love that you are saying that the sacral chakra is connected to the throat, because the sacral chakra is where our true creativity or true creation and productivity comes from. And then it gets expressed here in the word. So the word then manifests in the sacral chakra being healthy, fascinating. I didn't see that link before. Thank you so much for that. I see it now. Yeah.
And not only that, they actually look the same. Like if you look at the sacral, like the womb, it's similar to this part.
Yes, in the larynx. Oh my word.
Yeah, they are. Yes, so they
and
are.
Have you seen, speaking of things looking the same, have you seen how the intestines look like the brain? If you look at those lines, it's so interesting, these things.
Yeah, so there is, I take also almost no, I take 3 months teaching the chakras, because I teach the 12 chakras.
The 12, yes. I'm gonna come to your class.
The 12, because primarily if you're like a gifted person, you must know the 12, because the upper ones are related to the soul and spirit and guides and the higher dimensions, right? So it's a lot of work. The chakras are beautiful when you get to know them, because you get to truly understand your life, what has been happening, and it's liberating when we finally get the whole, like, you are not easy. Things are happening and you feel it. You feel the disconnection in your womb, in your relationship, because there's some energy not in balance, right? So that's the beautiful part. And I'm really excited. You are launching Stretch School right now, and it's open until when? And can you tell everyone who's listening the timeline of Stretch School and how they can work with you, actually? Yeah.
Okay, so if you want to join the school, you want to then join my Facebook group. It's called Stretch Class of 2021 Free Induction Group. So that induction group is active now from September to end of November. What that means is that in the group, there's some bonus teachings that I give, there's getting to know each other. So I spend a lot of time there, Monday to Wednesday. There's material that I give people. But at the same time, I am wanting people to rather register to join the actual school. So end of November, anyone who didn't join, we then remove them from the group, because that group then will be the school platform. Not really the school platform, because I do have an online platform, but it's where we engage, because I carry part of induction is so that we know each other, they know themselves as classmates, and we get a sense of what the energy in the group is about. Anyone who doesn't join, we remove them, then maybe they can think about it and they'll join in the new year. But the whole purpose of having a free 3 months group is so that you get to know me, you get to know how I teach, you get to know some of the things I do. I invite a lot of guests as well, invite for my people, and just to try and get us to join the school. If you don't join, no hard feelings, you'll join next time when you are ready, because our work is for people who are spiritually ready. You know, sometimes you think you're not ready, and you actually are the readiest. And then sometimes you think you are ready and you are like you are not ready at all for the work. So it's that dynamic. It's not about let's get as many numbers as possible. We are not selling magwinya, we're not selling queen's cake. We are selling very, very solid food, and it would be nice to have people in class. So yeah, that's it. The easiest, join my Facebook group. If you want more, you can go to my site, stretchschool.co.za. Although we are really still cleaning up the site, I personally am not happy with it now. And I don't know if my team is watching, or we need to clean it up. But you can check it out to just get a sense of what it is that we do. But yeah, this you look like Nomsa, man. I
am so sorry. Like I said, probably related. But this has been so wonderful to have you here, Lebo, and getting to talk about the mighty chakra system. Even though we did the first 3, they are actually the most important. Like, if
I think they're the most important, given where we are. I spend a lot of time with those. I really do, because focusing on the upper ones, it's like trying to put a roof before you have a foundation. You have to come up with this thing. So I focus there a lot, and then we do the heart, and then we do the rest. But I make sure that people grasp at a personal level, at a deep level. So I want my student to know the chakra system so well that even 𝚑𝚏𝚘𝚏𝚘 or they can immediately pick up, or okay, I'm reacting from my root chakra now. Yeah, now I'm being a victim right now. So you want to be that intimate with your life, but then understand what's governing your life then.
Yes. Yes. So if you are ready to get to know yourself at a deeper level, to begin this true healing and in-depth healing, then Stretch with Lebo is like, Stretch School is the perfect place to go and get to know this system so much more deeply and implement it in your life, right? So you can check all these details in the Waddas of Light show in my website. There's a way you can learn more about her work, and then you can click and you can be redirected. But you can also follow her. Her name is Lebo Pule in all her social medias, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you can follow her. And your website as well will be in the in the speakers part of our series. This is a masterclass series that we are doing since October, and we'll be doing it until November, every Tuesdays and Fridays. This replay will be available tomorrow. It will be available on YouTube as well as a podcast on Podbean. So you can come back and listen and refresh and really just go deeper, because sometimes you need to step a little bit and come back, right? So we hope that you guys had an amazing time. There's just been so many comments on Facebook. You can later read them. Everyone was really excited about this. So thank you so much. And everyone who joined us here on Zoom, thank you for joining us. My name is Joy Mukhami. I'm the host for the Masterclass series. And I will see you next week, Tuesday. Yes. Lebo, any last thoughts?
Oh, thank you. Oh, last thoughts. Yeah, I can say speech, last thoughts. You don't have to join Stretch or Joy's program, but you do have to prioritize your own healing and your own self-knowledge. It is written that without knowledge, my people perish. There's a lot we can solve just by understanding who we are, just by understanding our own lives as it is. There's a lot of things that you activate. So the moment you self-face, a word I use a lot in the class, the moment you self-face, you are taking responsibility for your life. And as you take responsibility for your life, those around you get affected, because we are energy. So what you do is you're shifting an energy. You are vibrating slightly higher, and your environment picks it up. Your children pick it up. Your boss picks it up. And the more you do it, the more you vibrate even higher. Eventually, you get to a stage where you know what your purpose really is. And again, your purpose is not about doing what Joy and I does. Your purpose could be like being the biggest and baddest CEO ever, or to be a professor at Koskolong, or to be a gardener like one of my friends, 𝚑𝚏𝚘𝚎𝚘𝚘, who's a scientist, but she left all that and she's just doing Naledi Farm, which is doing absolutely amazing. Or you discover that you are actually a chef inside, or you're an author. So there's many, many things that the system that we live under has just closed up for us. So once you start your own journey of self-discovery, self-healing, a whole world opens up. A whole, so take care of yourself. That's true self-care. That's nice. But true self-care is doing the work that you really need to do inside. Okay, Joy.
Thank you.
I like to preach.
Good night.
Thank you so much.